So let's start with the topic like what is design? It is everywhere. So whatever you do in day-to-day life is related to design. Like how you do any particular, how you prepare a dish, or how you code a program. Life has been designed. Your habit has been designed by someone. So design is about building a product or a problem or yeah. So it involves forming a concept or idea to create and add value to the people's life. Next, why choose design as a field, as your career? If you are a person who likes to enjoy the process of visual communication or even is interested about solving new problems. So what happens is when you are a designer, you get opportunity to work on different domains like you'll be working on fintech, you'll be working on e-commerce, and you'll be working on many other different fields like health, technology, etc. So here you face different challenges and each problem has to be addressed in a very different way. For example, healthcare is a sector where you need to think in a different perspective. Like a person, what is the mindset of a person who is coming to the hospital? And fintech is different in a different perspective because it involves a lot of money, so you have to create trust and all. And you want to work in fun and creative industry, obviously. So you can be creative here and can put your thoughts in the product. And you love spending time on design, websites, magazines, and books. So one more important thing about design is whatever you design comes live in the product. So it will be used directly by the people, and it's really a great honor. Like you tell that I was a person who designed the product. What are the various fields in design? So there are a lot of fields were there at the past. So interior design, multimedia design, fashion design, jewelry design, animation design. So everything is some or the other way for the people, right? So interior design is for all are things that are developing a product, designing a product for the people for having a good user experience. So all of things come under UX design. So we mainly focus on giving a user a product which is easy to use and which is simple for the user. Like the product should guide the user automatically, so he should not go and read a manual for that purpose. So why UX design? Why should you choose UX design as your career? First one, nowadays due to the COVID and a lot of other things, the time spent on the digital products has been increased to a greater extent. Like all of us are managing our day-to-day life. Like first we would go to gym. Now we have a lot of apps like CureFit and all are coming up. So we are using that. We used to go to hotels. We use Swiggy, Zomato, a lot of things, banking. So UPIs are there. So for a person to pay, you need to pay money for a person. You use the payment app. Second, conversions and ROI. For example, if a company that invests more on the UX part, they'll earn a lot. You see the example of Amazon. So it's very easy to use. Although there are a lot of other e-commerce giants, Amazon is being the first compared to all other companies in the e-commerce industry. Okay, let's see what UX design is. So UX design consists of all the experience starting from building product, customer uses it, and after even the support. So, for example, I buy a MacBook. So, from the in-house store experience I get at a Apple store, to I bring it to home, and the customer support I get, all throughout that, I have a very good experience. Let's see what Don Norman. He's also known as the father of UX. So he was a person who coined the term UX. So he used to work as a UX architect at Apple. So he tells user experience encompasses all the aspects of the end user's interaction with the company, its services, and its product. It's not a digital. So take any example. You call to a customer support. Even that's the point where you get in touch with your company or a product. So even that experience matters a lot. from end to end. Okay. You got to start with the customer experience and work back towards the technology and not the other way. So nowadays, what many companies do is first they start developing the product and then they take care about UX. So UX is about finding who the user is, finding what the problem is, and finding what the best solution is, and then designing the user interface, that is the UI design. But most of them start directly developing, and after some time they think UX is something that's competitive in today's market. They come back to that. So this is not a correct way to solve a problem. It's like learning after your exams. And most models are focused on experience. So what most of the business models is, they focus on their own interest. For example, I'm a founder of a product, and it's my focus is that I don't care about the user. So I say this is the thing that the user needs. So that's not the thing. So there's a very good example for this. So Amazon, what happens? So in Amazon, you can see the similar products listing in the down. So they are in the form of small things like four grid system, right? So what happened is the UX designer at Amazon was designing it, and what was his thought was to put two things there, like a two grid, like two will be displayed at a time, and you have to scroll again to see another two things. And he had other different options too. When they did A/B testing, what happened is many of the people like the four things, like four items to be displayed, similar items to be displayed down at the same time. So what the UX designer thought was two. So it's all about the user here. Next, what is UI? UI is all about the user interface, how things look. UX is all about how things work. So a user interface should be after the UX thing. So based on the UX conclusion, you design a UI. Let's see some basics of UI. So the first very important thing of UI is the layout. The layout should have a uniformity. So see here, these are two different layouts and they are uniform. Although they have different spacing, but the uniformity of spacing is the same. For example, here also the same pixels, but here it's 20. That uniformity and spacing is which helps keeps everything organized. Next is visual hierarchy. So here you can this is big. So this what visual hierarchy is nothing but how you want the user to see your app, see your product. So this big. So this is the important thing which I need to see. This is not important. So it's like we are like decreasing its importance by making it light and making it small. Next is I have to move to the next thing. Next, it also plays a major role. So when something is displayed in a different alignment, it catches its eye of the user. For example, when you see it for the first time, you see this first, like this catches your attention because these three are similar. So that's known as proximity, arranging same things together. So these three things are similar. So this is different. So what catches our eye first is this thing. Next is contrast. So you need to think about the contrast. How easy for the user to contrast. So the same example of this here. Next is the composition. So mostly the composition while you are designing application is known as golden ratio. So that is equal to 1 is to 1.618. So this has been derived from the real world architecture. So this is the golden ratio. For example, the Taj Mahal or the painting or the building. So this is derived from. So how should you do it when you are started designing application is imagine that your screen size is 1200 pixels. You divide it by 1.618 and you get 741. So this should be your division of your screen size. So medium uses this golden ratio. That's why we are able to use it very easily, and it's also like have a very good user interface. Okay, next see where's the place of UX. So UX comes in between all the things like business goals, user needs, and technology. So we have to satisfy all the three things. So user needs, technology, business goals. So business goals and user needs are different. For the design process, process. So design thinking is followed, but this is known as double diamond, where first we identify the problem and this what will be the causes for this problem. What's the root cause of the problem? We convert. So here converging, we are discovering what are all the possible ways whether the problem has occurred due to. Then we are converging, defining the main or the root of the problem. Then again we divert, is where we develop. Where we again divert, we develop different solutions. So we think of different possible solutions to the problem. And while delivering, we discover the most efficient solution of the problem. Okay. So there's a lot of confusion, like what is the difference between UX versus UI? So user experience satisfaction and experience users have with the company's product is a specific asset the user interacts with. For example, UI can deal with traditional like visual design elements, colors and typography. UI what is the that would attract user and what is the thing that the users want and how simple the product is for the user. It's not like the UI will look a very awesome. It's a very good UI. So while seeing it, it attracts me, but there's no use of that UI. So that's where the UX comes in. So this is a common thing that most of the when you search for UX versus UI, you will get this diagram. So UX consists of the interaction design. Every interactions you make with the product, like in Tinder, there's a swipe and wireframing and prototype where you create low fidelity wireframes. You do usability testing, information architecture, like how you want the information to be structured in your product, user research, so finding the right users for your product, and scenarios. So scenarios is like you create a scenario like how a user comes into your product and how he uses it. So it's like a story. So while and in UI design, it's about visual design, colors, graphic designer, layout, typography. So I'll tell you three, four ideas when you start your career in UX. The first one, find your users and their goals first. So this should be your first priority. For example, I'm building an app for students to get to know about free courses. So who are my target audience? So how will I find them? So not all students are my target audience. My target audience are people who are willing to learn online or who are searching for free courses. So you give out a survey with questionnaires like how often you learn online, or are you interested in online learning, or have you searched for free courses in the past, and how frequently you search for it. So by this survey, I get all the things. So you can do this with the Google form, and you can select the people who search for free courses and who are looking for learning online. So these are their goals. Second idea, like your users. So for example, you design a product and you don't like the users, so empathy is not there. So the product will not be successful, and you will also not design in a way they like. Talk to real people. So I told right. So after the survey, you have to select your target audience. So the target audience for us is who are willing to learn online. Talk to them like what are their ideas and what are the pain points they face while they are searching for free courses. So just I'm taking this as an example. Put it down everything on a paper, like put it down on a paper or sticky notes. You build personas, you build user flows and all. Yeah. So first I was talking about the business goals and user goals, right? Don't confuse between the customer's goal and the client's goal. The client is a business. For example, the client may know time, we know our audience, and our users want to sign up for newsletter. This is what the client may say, but uh, the user, the user may not say, I need another email newsletter. So uh, so there are two different things. So a client wants more sign-ups on the newsletter, and user wants something that would help him. So for example, here the user says, "This will help me to get my job. Sign me up." So uh, you have to match these two goals in a way like both are benefited. So client's goal is newsletter sign up, and customer's goal is be better at job. So you tell about job posting, you give emails about things. Client's goal is make money, but customer's goal is make life easier, save money, and be Next, let's see what good UX is. So one is usable, like it's very used. There's no guidance needed. It's very and it consists of only things that need. Aesthetic, good, delightful. It provides a good experience to user and allows the user to use it more and more again and again. For example, I've seen many people who come to a website and they see that the website is slow or the app is not good, so they'll uninstall it or not come to their site or product again and again. So if the product has all these three things, then it's very good. Like it increases the number of users, it increases the number of times the user will be on the app, and much more. Okay, these are some of the concepts you should remember. You are not the user, first thing. So you should not say like, I don't like this interface. For example, you are working with some fellow designers, 3 to 4 designers on a group, on a project, and a designer comes with a screen and you say, I don't like it. So how you can say like, I don't like it? So you have to test with the user first, in terms of the flow I'm telling. Like, is this flow the right flow? And users are also humans, they are not robots. And users are not domain experts. So when you're talking to user, don't bring in technical terms or direct questions. So for example, I'm interviewing for an office, a person who is going to office. So think I'm a user researcher from a food firm, a hotel, where I'm building an app for the hotel. So I should not ask like, "Hi, do you like this hotel, or have you had any meal at this XYZ hotel?" No, you should ask in such a way like, "What are the problems you face when you go to hotel?" or uh, "How often you go to hotel and how was your experience?" So it be like a descriptive question. It should not be like a yes or no. Like, do you like eating at hotels? So this is not a kind of question. And you should not also include the domain expert terms. So these are the very important key factors of UX that are known as honey UX. So these So UX is much more than usability, and we need to pay attention to all aspects of the user experience. If we want to deliver successful product. So this is the honeycomb of UX. So if you are designing any product, or if the product is already launched, you can test it with all these seven factors, seven key factors. Provides a purpose to the target audience. Like if a product has no purpose, so it's not able to compete the attention, compete with the market, or get the attention of the audience. So yeah, this is the first one. Next is usable. Usable. So usable enables users to effectively achieve the end objective goal. So I want to buy a product at Amazon. So how easy for me is to buy a product at Amazon? So it gives a competitive advantage. So it should be safe and comfort to use. Next is findable. Product must be easy to find, like digital products like web page or app. So you go to Netflix, it's easy to find a movie. You go to Prime Video, so it's easy to find a movie. So what you're looking for should be able to easy to find. So they have a lot of filters, so we can easily find them. Next is credible. This is very, very important to be frank. So the ability of the user to trust the product. It's worth spend time and money for this. So don't give false promises to users. So I was playing in the lockdown. I saw the Ludo Kings user interface. So they say like sign in with Facebook, and below that they have a small note. It says like will not post anything from your Facebook. It's completely safe with us. So it gives a sign of trust for me to sign up for that thing. So if you cheat or if you provide false promises in the app, what would happen is you will lose lot of money, you lose the trust of people, and even you will lose the customers. Next is desirable. So desirable is very important. It's conveyed through branding, image, identity, aesthetics, and emotional design. So you buy any Apple product, so they all have a same branding. All the Apple stores have a same thing. You can see Aircel thing. So a kind of red and white field. You go to a recharge store and Next is accessible. People don't give importance to this thing, but this thing accessible. Accessible is building a product for all. So your product should be accessible even by a person who can't see or who can't hear. So according to survey conducted by some accessibility organization, it says that for every 20 people, there are 3 people who are having some kind of disability. So in foreign and all, so they have a law. So for example, if a product is not accessible, people have to pay fine. Like the company has to pay fine. So some of an example is as a end product, you should keep this in mind. So once the developer develops it, he should have proper alt tags in the images. So for example, when a blind is not able to see an image, so he uses screen readers. So that screen reader helps to read what is the alt tag, the alt attribute, what is mentioned in the alt attribute of the image. So we should see the small things. It's very important. To be frank, very big companies have lost millions because of this thing, because of not making the product properly accessible. When you design for accessibility, you often find that you create products that are easier for everyone to use. So that's a very important, that you are designing for all. The product is for all, not a particular group and all. Valuable. So finally, it should deliver value to the business as well as customers. That's it. So these are the honeycomb or the 7 key factors of UX, or the honeycomb of UX, that you should keep in mind while you are starting designing your process. Next, these are the very, very important principles. So these are known as heuristic principles. And this also helps to evaluate your product in case of you are not able to do user testing. User testing is where you call a real user, ask him to use your prototype or the app, and you just observe him, like how does he do it. But in many cases, it's not possible. So you yourself can do it with the help of heuristic principles. So Jacob Nielsen NN Group is the best website to learn more about UI UX. So Jacob Nielsen is a person who put this 10 principles for you, which helps you to evaluate your product, check your product, and even when you are designing, you should keep each and everything in your mind. First is visibility of system status. Always provide feedback to your user when he performs a task. So best example is Pinterest. So when you are on the onboarding screen, when the screen loads, there's an onboarding animation which says like we have a lot of these things. So it's really nice. Next is match between the system and the real world. So speak the language of the user. Don't reinvent the wheel. For example, cart icon. So the cart icon is derived from the real world. So you see in most of the e-commerce websites, the same cart icon has been used. Next is user control and freedom. So you should give control to the user. So you should give user control, a lot of control to the user, so that he can perform anything. So there should be not, you cannot restrict your user. So control in the sense, if a user has performed the task, he should be able to undo the task he has performed, or redo the task he has performed, or edit it. For example, there's a big form and you fill the form and you want to edit a particular part, you can go back and edit the form. A very good example for this is MailChimp and YouTube. YouTube is where you control the progress bar. So you can control the progress bar like anytime. The full freedom is given to you. Next is consistency and standards. So products that follow consistency are always important. So everywhere you see the product, every screen of the product should give you the same feel. So for this also, I take the example of YouTube. So in YouTube, you see that even in mobile and even in system, you have the same look. And even the Google products, all the Google products have the same white material theme. The next, the most important one, error prevention. So you have to prevent people from making errors. So the best thing, the best example is when you try to permanently delete a file from your computer, you get a message. You really want to delete the file permanently. So you prevent the users. You ask one more from the user. Next, and recall. So you should always take things from the real world of like what are the things that the user does. So you should not add new things. So user should be able to recognize it at the first look itself. The best thing is Gmail, Google search, YouTube. So all these three products use something that's very easy to recognize: the search icon, the delete icon. So it's very easy. So delete is something like a dustbin, so that we see in our day-to-day life. Flexibility and efficiency of use. So yeah, this one is the most complex or little bit difficult compared to others. So you have to give, so every product will have two types of users. One is beginner users and one is advanced users. So beginner users should be able to go step by step, but the advanced users should be able to go faster. So they should have some kind of shortcut. So you should design your app in such a way that advanced users can go faster than the beginner users. So they do not process the same steps as the beginner user, because it saves a lot of time. It for the advanced users if they have a shortcut. Aesthetic and minimal design. So it's not about having a lot of colors, having a lot of illustration. So it should be simple and should satisfy what the product, what the user expects from the product. Help users to recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. So if there's some error occurs, you should say why the error occurs and how should they come out of this error. So very important thing that most of the user interface miss out. Help and documentation. So all help and when there's any kind of edge cases in the product, like when there's some problem that's a very uh, not a common problem, but a very edge case problem that may occur like rarely for the users. Yeah. So help and documentation will help them with that. So a picture is worth a thousand words. A complex idea can be solved with a simple design, but only when UX and UI are together. So I think many companies don't have time for the UX process. So UX process is where we have the real users persona, where we have their needs together. So persona is like a resume of a user, where we have their needs together. We match that needs to the goal, and that goals we form it as a feature of a product. After forming the feature, like we do a priority, like which would be the first priority, best priority for the user. Then we put low wireframing, and then we put colors and high fidelity. Then only we come to the UI design. How should be the mindset of a UX and UI designer is love to learn, be a next. UX is growing, so this is a ratio. One is a UX designer and 25 is a developer. So in 2012, Atlassian, it was like one UX designer, 25 developers. 2017, one UX designer, 9 developers. And 2022, it's predicted to be one UX designer for every 4 developers. Similarly, in IBM, so it was one designer for every 72 developers, there was a one designer. In 2017, for every 8 developers, there's a one designer. And in 2022, it's predicted that for every 6 developers, there'll be a one designer. Similarly, in LinkedIn, to see the opportunities that are growing in UX. So these are some of the books I would refer. The best book is The Design of Everyday Things, Don Norman. Like reading this book, many people have also been shifting their career from development to design. Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug, Smashing UX Design, Information Architecture, Mobile First Web Form Design, and Self, Practical Empathy by Indy, Just Enough Research. So it's a very good book on user research by Erica Hall, and Designing for Emotion, Business Model Generation, Rework. So Rework is a general kind of book where it says like how you solve a problem and how you think while you're solving a problem. So these are some blogs that you can refer, like the Smashing Magazine, A Book Apart, Rosenfeld, O'Reilly. So what's the future and the present of UI UX design? Is conversational interfaces like Alexa, Google Assistant and all. So how the things happen, and strong push of AI on UX, like the AI products will be coming and there'll be more of voice interaction design. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so are you able to see my screen now? Yes, I think it's visible. There was some network error, I think so. So conversational interfaces and strong push of AI in the UX, voice interaction design, designing for AR and VR. You will be designing for the spatial world, and you will be designing for the different spaces like vans or you'll be designing for a room, you'll be designing for a space and all. Thanks. Like if you have any questions, you can ask me on LinkedIn or you can mail me, and now also you can ask me on chat if you want. Okay, so some of the courses for UI UX design is I'll just add the link in the comments. Sorry, in the chat. So the first one is Aquant Gymnasium's UX fundamental course. So that's for like it's for a completely UX thing. So it says about a lot of examples of what's important. So it's a core UX thing. And next one is Udacity's product design course. So it's also a free course. I think it's by Google. So you can just have a look at that too. So these two courses are good to go for a beginner to get started with UI UX design. So if you have any doubts, like you can message here in the chat. I think the screen was in between not visible. I think there was some network issue. Like if you want me to explain a particular screens again, like when was it not visible, you can just tell me. I'll just go through it once again if possible.